Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is 9 undeniable signs that we are in the last days. Now, let me explain. I'm going to go through all of the 9, and I'm just going to briefly read through them and briefly explain them. And then what I planned to do was to go through and explain each one of them in detail. But I started coming with so much information on it, I don't think I can get all of the way through it in just one program. So I'll go as far as I can. When we hit about the 30-minute time limit, like we always do, then I'll cut it off and I'll pick up there tomorrow. So probably it'll break into 2, possibly even 3 programs, but I think it's going to be very important information. Okay, so here are the lists. These are the things that show us, without question, we are in the last days. Tracking. As of June 30th, as in a couple of weeks from now, all Mexican cell phones must register with a photo ID, a government ID, and you've got to register your cell phone. No more of this just buying it and using it to just have a generic cell phone. You got to register it or they turn it off. Next thing is the rise of the Muslim nations. I'm going to show you several scriptures. That's one of the big signs that we're getting close to the end. The third beast. Some say it's already formed, some say it hasn't, but we're going to talk about that. Cursing in movies. I had some friends that just said that they went to a couple of movies. I won't mention the name of the movies, but they said they counted up the F-bombs in the movies. And one of them had like 47, I think. The other one had 67. So I checked it out. I went to imdb.com, and there's a little place on there where it'll tell you how many F-bombs or how many words, curse words, that are in a movie. And sure enough, some of them have over 100 F-bombs. How's that the last days? I think that we're one step away from just going full triple X rated porn in our movies, that, and maybe even on TV too. In other words, it's reached the point to where there's no more righteousness. We aren't willing to stand for righteousness, and we see that in the movies, and we say nothing. So that's a big problem. 4, alien disclosure, which is the strong delusion. So the alien thing has been a secret that has been closely guarded, well, all of my lifetime, definitely since 1947 when the Roswell crash happened. But now all of a sudden, they're releasing it. Oh, well, that's Trump doing it because he's a good guy. Well, maybe not. Maybe it was planned all along about this same time, because you see a lot of these things, and that's a point. A lot of these things are happening now all about the same time. Again, it's saying end times are here. We may see the tribulation start, maybe even this year. The release of the giants or the X-Men. Okay, so think about that. Superman. Okay, so what is Superman's genetics? Oh, well, he was half man, half alien, wasn't he? And what about Spider-Man? How many genetics did he have? Well, he was a mixture of many of the different spiders that bit him. And then what about Hulk? If you know the story of Hulk, he became green because he was trying to come up with a formula to make a person strong, a super soldier, and it kind of messed up. And it was a genetic change in him. His genetics changed. X-Men. Death of the dollar, rise of the digital currency. We do know that we're coming to a world government, a world religion, and a world digital currency. So says the Bible. So when we see the death of the dollar and the rise of the digital currency, it's another one of the many signs that says, yeah, we're in the last days. Again, I'm going to cover this in detail as far as I can get through it today. Earthquakes. Bible says in the last days, Jesus said this himself, in diverse places. That means in various places. Cuba just had an earthquake. Someplace over in India. I haven't covered a whole lot of the earthquakes because they're all the time around the circle of fire. U.S. pull out of European Union and forming a 10-nation confederacy. Have you heard that Donald Trump has openly said that he may walk away from Israel. Israel might be on their own. And have you also heard that Donald Trump is pulling soldiers out of many of the European nations? And he has threatened to possibly pull out of NATO. Well, what does that do? That means that there's got to be a rise of the European empire, which is what prophecy said would be happening in the last days. A 10-nation European Union would arise, and from that would be the rise of the Antichrist. Now, data centers. I put this under 4 categories because it's got that much. So I'm calling it the data centers. You realize that they're spending like $10 billion on data centers? All of a sudden, these companies seem to have plenty of money to build data centers. Okay, what are the data centers about? I believe that it's going to be creating the image of the beast, as I have been saying now for, 30 or 40 years. The image of the beast will be half man, half machine, half man, half computers. And there's been several people who have seen dreams of exactly that going on. One of them had said that it was hard to tell when flesh left and metal or machine began, all in the same body. Image of the beast. Mark of the beast. Well, you can't have the mark of the beast, that is, if it's electronic, until you have the data centers, but not to worry, they're working on that. And then, of course, you've got to attach all of this data together. And it just happens to be that Elon Musk has run across Starlink, and he's put billions of dollars into Starlink. Did you know that his plan, he's already approved to put 42,000 low Earth orbiting satellites? Here's the way I think it'll work. I think that you'll be getting a cell phone type device. Can't make phone calls, can't play games on it. It is a digital currency exchange device about the size of a cell phone, and it will bypass, probably we're talking 6G, which they say 28, some people say 29, maybe as far as 30, 6G. But it will bypass all username and passwords. It will automatically link to the internet any place it goes. If it is outside of range, let's say out on some hilltop or something, then it links up to Starlink through the low Earth orbiting satellites. Again, we're going to talk about that more. Now, you've got to be a part of that system, so then they've come up with an orb. What's an orb? It's a round device about the size of a bowling ball, and you look into it, it scans your eyes, it scans your face, and I'll bet it also takes your voice print, and it gives you a world ID. Why would we want a world ID? Well, so that we can buy or sell. And if you don't have that tied into the image of the beast, the mark of the beast, into the data centers, you can't buy or sell. You can't access anything on the internet. I think the way we're coming into it, like, for example, news sources, when you go to a news source, you don't have to subscribe anymore. It automatically will take it out of your digital account. And so as you surf around the internet, it automatically has little bitty charges here or there for each one of the pages. Now, no one's ever said that. I think it's where it's coming. All right, now, let's get into some of the specifics today. Tracking. We're not talking about just a little tracking. We're talking about total tracking. Now, first question. Why would the devil want to know where you are? Well, first of all, it's not just tracking about us. They want to track everything. Every purchase, every voicemail, every fax, every email, everything. Did you know now for 30, 35 years, if it flows through the air, or if it goes through fiber, or if it goes through a copper wire, it's all being recorded. The internet is eternal. Back to the question. Why do they want to track us? Because eventually they'll go past you not be able to buy or sell without the mark. What's going past you can't buy or sell? What's worse than that? That is, you don't have the mark. We want to find you. You're going to take the mark, or you're going to lose your head. That's the ultimate objective of tracking us. For example, June 7th, 2026, all Mexico cell phone users must register by June 30th of this year. Mexico's law now requires all Mexican cell phone numbers, whether on contract or prepaid phone plans, are associated with a verified registered user. That's right. All cell phone numbers must be verified to be associated with an individual. Government ID will be suspended until or unless the number is registered by their verified user. Whether you're situated in Mexico or abroad, if you have a Mexican purchased phone, it has to be registered or they'll just simply turn it off. And it says whether it is active with a physical SIM card or a virtual eSIM, you gotta register. And doesn't make a difference whether it's contract, prepay, and you can have up to 10 phones under each one of those names. So like a company could have 10 phones, but each one of those must be registered to a person, not a company. Here's more on it. An upload of the photo of your government ID is required. So you got to give them a photo of you. Now, what do you think is in that photo? Well, the orb says it's going to be eye scan, face scan, probably a voice scan. Don't be surprised if one day, like you go to the airport and they say, okay, put your hand up here, lay your fingers like this so we can take your fingerprints, and then all of a sudden, boop, it takes a little sample of blood, pops your little finger, and gets a DNA sample too. Haven't heard of that happening, but don't be surprised when it comes. So it says, if you're not a Mexican national, you'll still need to upload a photo of your valid passport. It'll give you access from your camera, and you'll need to show your face from various angles. So you take a picture, might even take a picture like this. Who knows? But they want to make certain it's you. They might also ask for an IMEI number of your device. What's that? That's where you open up the phone and you give it a number from inside the device, and it might even be that it's from the SIM card. If you're unable to register online, that's no problem. Just go in and they will do all of that for you. Why? Because we're coming to a digitized currency world, but it's not just currency. It's everything. Emails, directions where you're going to go. It's everything. You got to have that to go to the doctor. You got to go to that. Have that to go out to eat, to go to a movie, anything you want to do. You got to have everything right now is connected to the cell phone. And I've said many times, cell phone's not your friend. It's not your friend. It's going to get a lot worse. Very interesting article here. Digital dystopia. So it goes on to say an investigative film on global digital surveillance is coming out. Well, what could be wrong with that? It says every adult will need a new government-issued digital ID. See, that's the orb, okay? A digital ID having all of your personal information stored in one place. Will spare no effort to make Europe an AI continent, not just Europe, around the globe. Starts there, doesn't stop there. To integrate you into this great reset. So how soon will central bank digital currencies become reality? I say the digital sitters. Trump is pushing and spending over $10 billion, promising to be the number one AI country in the world, is building the computers, which will become the image of the beast. So you might say that Donald Trump is actually helping the data centers to be able to enslave every one of us. He doesn't understand what he's doing. If he would just call me and let me read a little Bible to him, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing. Okay, so here it is. Take a good long look. That is going to enslave you. What you're looking at is called the orb. Agrarian oil-based technology, they say. Total control, knowledge, data, and intelligent insights. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, has made a thing called the orb. It's a silver spear about the size of a bowling ball. It scans your iris. It gets your biometric imprint, your face scan, something you cannot change. It inputs it into an international database and gives you an international ID called you'll like it, World ID. It puts it into an international database, gives you an ID. This allows your identity to be confirmed as a human globally. So as you search the internet, be it your computer or be it your cell phone, you're already in there. It knows who you are. I've told you that they're coming out with a new kind of a cell phone that you won't be able to turn off the audio or the camera. And as you touch it, you won't be able to put on a cover. As you touch it, it is always taking your fingerprints. It's always doing your eye scan, your face scan, your voice prints, your cell phone, which will probably be the digital phone too, or the same thing in a digital phone, is always taking your biometrics. So this device that you buy and sell with, about the size of a cell phone, you could actually hand it to a thief and say, go ahead, try to see if you can access my account. You can have anything you get out of the account. But see, as soon as he touches it, it reads his fingerprint, said, no, that's not him. He turns to say, give me some money, but it gets his eye scan, his face scan, and if he says any word, it's got his voice scan. And so, no, you're not getting any money. 100% ID. That's what we're talking about. Oh, that'll never work. Yeah, well, 18 million people have already joined. We already find it difficult to prove we're not in a computer, but this makes us human in a digital world. It's already being linked to apps such as Zoom, Shopify, Documents, and other platforms. Yeah. Are we in the last days? Yeah, we're in the last days. Here's a picture of it. That's a picture of Sam Altman. So you just stand in front of this orb and you become a world citizen. Now let's talk about the image of the beast, which is the mark of the beast, Starlink satellites, and the orb. To the left is what we believe is the number of his name. That's actually kind of a circled 666. On the right is what Ken Peters and another person saw as the mark of the beast. Now, it might not look exactly like that. It might not have an arrowed tail or a snake head in the center of it. Probably won't. It might not have exactly the same number of flames coming out of it. But if you take a good look at that, when the number of the beast comes out and the mark of the beast, you'll know not to take it. Had power to give life into the image of the beast. What's the image of the beast? That is the part man, part computer. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause, as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, receive a mark on the right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark, or the number of the name, or the name of the beast. Here's wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man is the number 666. So that's probably what the mark of the beast looks like. Something in that ballpark. Once you've seen that, now you know you don't want to take it. That might be what the number of his name looks like and the mark of the beast. So burn that into your memory. Say, I'm never going to take that. Because if you take that, you're tossed into the lake that burns with fire and brimstone with the beast and the false prophet. For all eternity, 1,000 years later, Lucifer's tossed in with you. There's no escape. It's total torment. That means that 100% of the cells in your body that cannot be destroyed are in total torment, total pain for all eternity. It is punishment beyond explanation. So this is a book called The Miss the Mark, and this one is a very simple book. Takes you probably 2 hours to read through it. It is designed to be handed to someone that is not necessarily a Christian, maybe even a teenager, because if they'll read a few pages of it, they will probably finish the book. And if they finish the book, they will understand the mark of the beast. It shows them what the mark of the beast looks like, and they will never take the mark of the beast, and they'll probably get saved. 1 for $20, don't do that. We offer them a shrink wrap set of 10 for $35. Then my newest book, Pentecost Rapture of the Bride. If you want to understand the timing of the rapture, and I'll just tell you, it's what you call pre-wrath. It's about 4 months before Armageddon. Then this is the book. And it lays it out once again. This is simple. This is about a 3-hour read. Not complicated at all. But once you read it, you'll slap your forehead and say, of course. I don't know why I didn't see this before. It has to be this way. This is the truth, no matter whether you or someone else is pre-trib, post-trib, whatever they are. When they read this book, they will understand the truth about the rapture. Essentially, it explains that the Feast of Pentecost is the marriage feast. And so the first marriage, Moses, the children of Israel, married God at Mount Sinai. The second marriage in the upper room, when the Holy Spirit came in and tongues of fire set upon people. The final marriage is when we get taken to the marriage supper of the Lamb on the last rapture. You'll see that. It's easy. 1 for 20. Don't do that. Shrink wrap set of 10 for 35. Then what I call the granddaddy book, this is the one where I was shown the secret door that puts the prophecies of Revelation into the correct chronological order based upon the feasts. When you see this, you can say, of course, God showed him how it really works. 1 for 20, shrink wrap set of 5 for 35. But you can right now get 5 of the secret door and 10 of the Pentecost, 15 books for a gift of $50 at prophecyclub.com. prophecyclub.com has the best offer we've ever offered, where you get all 5 of my books, total of 40 books, at prophecyclub.com for $800, valued at $800, for $100. Also, if you are a prophecy student and you're in the DFW area, or especially if you live in the DFW area, let me invite you to come by our church and visit. I think you'll like it, especially if you're a prophecy student and you see the address there. If God has blessed you and you can help Prophecy Club, now would be a really, really good time, because it's summertime and it's always the toughest time of the year. Our donations pretty much stopped during this year for the time of the year. So if you can help us, now would be a really good time. We'd really appreciate it.